One of the games I've been playing as of late is Contraband Police, which is available on Steam. So, the game is developed by Crazy Rocks and published by Playway. So here's the thing about this game. So, it's a border patrol simulation. So what you need to do is you gotta make sure you watch out for any sort of drug-related objects. Because if you get them through, you'll lose some money. But if you do a good job, you'll earn money. And your money plays a key part of the game, because if you lose them, you can't get them within like a day afterwards, then you're fired. So the game has like 3 different modes. There's campaign mode, which affects the ending because it's basically your decision. There's also investor, which is more like an endless thing, and you just have playtime anytime you want. And there's also a challenge mode. But as of late, the game is being teased coming to mobile devices. I think it's just because the game got overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and because plenty of people have, well, enjoyed playing the game, including popular streamers on Twitch and YouTube. There's a few things you'll need to use in order to like complete your job. You need to utilize some of the tools in order to like do some searching of the vehicles in case you find any sort of drugs or maybe fake money in process. There's also firearms which you'll be needing to use because sometimes you'll have some random criminals try to raid into your border and you'll have to kill them. But it really depends on how many enemies there is, and there's also plenty of side missions for you guys to do. I'm basing it all off in terms of investor mode, but the campaign pretty much plays somewhat like the same thing, except, like I mentioned, your decision affects the ending. So what you also need to do is that check everyone's background, make sure everything's not expired, forged, and etc. At some sort of portions of the game, there'll also be a special, it's a entry regulation where you can't be allowed at either certain countries or because there's either an animal virus or some sort of like vaccination card that certain people need, like a flu to be exact. But make sure you keep checking in these papers because otherwise, well, you might fail at this. But if you do a good job, then your rank will come up and then you can be able to upgrade your border. They'll have like better defense in terms of raid, or maybe better roads and such, just for people to pass by. So make sure you read all these things correctly too. The smugglers list and also the wanted posters. So that way you catch the criminals in time. So it's a first person shooter, as I will just say this right now, and it's only in single player. I feel like this game's popularity may bring it to consoles, maybe like the PlayStation, Xbox, or potentially Nintendo Switch. Because one of the games from Playway is already on Switch, and that's Thief Simulator, which I'll hopefully get to the point of talking about that game at some point in the future, as I've actually enjoyed playing that game and its sequel. So the game usually takes place between the 1970s and the 1980s, and no, there is no English voiceovers for a pretty good reason being. That's because the border is set in a place called Karikataka. It's a region in Kyrgyzstan. I'm hoping I'm said that right. Which most of the languages are mixed between Siberian, Russian, Polish, and Hungarian. That's basically like the reason why you won't be hearing any English voiceover. But look, if you guys have played some games that uses other languages other than English that are the main focal points of the game's settings, like the Yakuza series, which is basically like a key example, I think you'll get through with this too. It doesn't mean like it's going to be impactful or just like necessary for you guys to know, but you are gonna like need to listen to what people are gonna need to say at certain points, but I'm sure in campaign wise. But most of my gameplay happened to be in Fester mode, which is something that I just wanted to play on here before I even try to do the campaign. But like I mentioned, the campaign affects your decisions. So you'll also need to like start checking in some people's luggages. Make sure the animals are legit because they can bring in fake animals. And make sure just like everything is valid. If everything goes right, you can let them through, but if certain regulations aren't met, they cannot go through. Even if they aren't doing anything wrong, they just can't go through due to the regulation requirements. So make sure you just read whatever it is that it says carefully. It got an anniversary update too as of late, so that'll be like another thing I can really tell you about this. I also need to mention too, sometimes there'll be random dudes running away from you. It doesn't have to be just on vehicle, because it recently updated that the game has let you chase them on foot. So you gotta really watch these guys. They'll just run through, break the gate, and then you gotta chase them with your car. And that's pretty much it. But if you can manage to stop them, you can actually arrest them. I should say something too. There's plenty of goods you guys can use as well. The reason I'm saying like this because if someone was a prisoner and you arrested them, you can transport them to a labor camp, which if you transport them, you'll earn in-game money. If you also find drug-related objects like, well, I should say also counterfeit money and whatever, just whatever that is illegal, I should say, you can actually bring them over to one of the places and you'll earn a lot more money too. It doesn't just have to be in the van. It can also be part of your inventory. So once you go through, you'll actually earn a lot of money, which can help you keep you around in business in terms of bordering the patrol, and you can also use some upgrades in terms of like parts of places like lights, or maybe you just want to hire some new officers to help you defend your place, or perhaps that you just want to upgrade your staff, which comes to key play because a lot of people will definitely try to take you down. So that's why you're gonna need some good weaponry. There's pistols, shotguns, a submachine gun, an assault rifle, and like a sniper rifle you can say too. So make sure you know what weapon is good for you, and then you can just use it against them. You can also use grenades, by the way. The weapons and the precision of the weapons itself feel realistic, as you can say, as it is a simulation game after all. It's like one shot to the head and they're already dead. But some of the weapons have their own like strengths and weaknesses in terms of damages and ammo. So a submachine gun will definitely waste your ammo like a lot. So you gotta really like watch your ammo. The thing is that certain weaponry, like the melee weapons, are always just used in terms of like checking people's vehicles or objects in case something just goes wrong, because people leave stuff there illegally they cannot be transported to. Like someone can hide things in a briefcase, or maybe they could just hide things in a canister, or like I said before, a fake animal. So you need to use your head about this too. Make sure nothing is expired, make sure nothing's forged. But if you don't know which one's forged or not, there is this little book that you can read, and they'll show you the pictures of what is real, and if you don't see anything legit, then that means it's fake. So make sure everything is legitimately valid, so that way they can go through, and then you can be on your way with your own business, you can say. You guys can get weapons from a shop. Either you can travel to the Flad's shop, or you just call a fan from him and they can come through, but that'll be like a $100 fee if you're gonna bring them over faster than just traveling over there. But some weapons, like melee weapons, well, they're cheaper, but the firearms are where it gets more expensive wise. So you also need to like keep an eye too on your prisoners, because if you don't have a guard keep an eye on them, then they'll likely escape. Leaving them in the car at all costs will also cause them to escape. So that's why you really need to try to keep an eye on these prisoners. Sometimes I feel like if there's way too many, then they may likely escape. But the more prisoners you return, the more money you get. But the most wanted people will also offer you a lot more money than anything else there is. So that's why you need to try to play smart here, because otherwise you may lose some prisoners and they'll just randomly escape. And that's why you also need to keep an eye on these guys at all costs, because sometimes they'll just run away when they feel like it, whenever you try inspecting them, and that's basically what happened to me, and I didn't know this. I was like, I thought the game must have messed up, but no, he escaped. So I kind of lost him where he was going, so that was on me. So make sure you keep ranking up so that way you can do some requirements, or maybe you just want to get more vehicles, like, you know, maybe like a faster vehicle for you to start pursuits. But you'll also need to try to upgrade other buildings just before you try hiring anyone else to come to protect you. So you also just need to keep that in mind. But if your vehicle is somehow damaged, you can talk to a mechanic, but it will offer you a small fee to repair. But don't worry, it's not gonna take long. So make sure you use your wits about you. Think as to how you wanna like progress through the game. Look, you can take bribes if you want. I don't care. If you wanna be a corrupt border police, you can. You can just do anything you want. But remember, money is the key play in this game. Because if you run out of money, then you're out of the job. So you gotta start thinking, because all these fees are gonna start coming out every day, only because you have to keep the border in business. So make sure you think before you do something. Think if they're an enemy or not. Don't just arrest them because it says this and that. Unless if they have drugs, then okay, cool. Unless they're wanted, then okay. But make sure you use your wits about you, and then you'll get through the day. But if you want more people to come through every day, make sure you fix these roads, that way they can, you know, come by. So the more you upgrade, the more stuff that'll happen. Maybe you'll have like reduced enemies, maybe have more people come in every single day, rather than just like 3 or 4 people a day. So that way things can just happen. So you can also like hire people and whatnot too. So make sure you check out the upgrades, upgrade your dudes, upgrade your whole facility and whatever else too. Because that's kind of another key part of the thing. But I think that every time that happens, it's like you're gonna get more fees in terms of like what you're doing. Maybe it just depends on how many people you hired. But make sure you try to upgrade as much as you can, but at the same time conserve your money. So you always have to make sure you're prepped. So that's all you need to really do about this game. So make sure you have a good PC, and make sure that you actually listen to the tutorial, as there's only 5 days in there. So the tutorial will just like basically tell you how to play the game and how to do your job. So make sure you say yes to the tutorial, because I'm sure that certain YouTubers will say no and then will blame the game for, you know, being dumb, even though it's their fault for not reading the tutorial in the first place. So that's all I can say about Contraband Police. And I really do think, despite this being a simulation game, you guys may have some enjoyment out of it.